With a completed rent table, you are ready to move on to Section 3 of this tutorial. Section 3 reviews the worksheets that outline the anticipated expenses for the year. It also describes how to submit your budget via Box.com. Now that you have finished the rent table, you will complete the capital expenditures worksheet. Enter capital expenses to be completed over the next 12-month budget cycle. Try to keep this list exclusive to those expenses that you anticipate paying for from the replacement reserve account. If you anticipate paying for some items from operations, they do not necessarily need to be included here. Capital expenses can range from replacing refrigerators to replacing windows. Remember to reference your most recent inspection report for items that you included on your 7-year capital needs assessment. Last but not least, remember to consult with the owner. Believe it or not, you are ready to complete the budget worksheet. Columns C, D, and E are the current year's actual income and expenses, the estimated income and expenses for the remainder of the year, and the total estimated income and expenses for year-end. These columns have been populated when you created your new BudRep. If this is your first time preparing a budget, these columns will be blank. That's okay. Next, column F is where you enter the proposed budget. Column G will calculate for you the difference between the proposed budget and the current year-end estimate. Column H will calculate the percent change from the proposed budget to the year-end estimate. Do not worry about completing column J. Agency staff will complete the approved budget column and return it to you in a BudRep that you will use for the upcoming year. I want to call your attention to the Budget Notes worksheet. If you see a line item on the budget worksheet that includes Specify in Notes in parentheses, include the detail requested on the Budget Notes worksheet. Agency staff will reference this worksheet for your explanation. For example, other income on line 18 could include multiple revenue sources, such as laundry income, vending machines, or cable TV. Budget Notes is where you communicate specifically what your other income sources are. In this example, the development collects income from application fees and laundry. Not all line items provide you with the reminder to specify in Notes. Any assumptions that you make for your budget should be detailed on the Budget Notes worksheet. For example, the property management fee and any site staff salaries should be included here. If your management fee is based off a dollar amount per occupied unit or a percentage of revenues, even if you are not asking for an increase, it is best practice to provide the detail. Here's a good test to see if something should be included in the budget notes. If you need to describe to someone unfamiliar with the property what is in each line item because there are multiple types of income or multiple types of expense items listed on one line item, then it should be added to the budget notes. If you have made an assumption, detail how you came up with that assumption. Finally, any significant variance from the current year to the proposed budget year should include an explanation in the budget notes as well. If you have questions about what to include on which income and expense lines, be sure to reference the explanations worksheet for a full description. Here are some common errors that agency staff have seen. For developments with or without rental assistance, remember to complete the rent table. If you choose to use manual gross potential rent, then remember to submit the rent matrix. You can use Minnesota Housing's template or an internal one. Remember to indicate on the rent table what funding programs apply to which units. Finally, remember to submit a utility allowance schedule. Remember to explain your management fee in the budget notes. The management fee should be as a dollar per occupied unit or a percentage of collection. For example, communicate if your fee is $20 per unit per month or if you calculate your fee as 6% of income collected. Remember to provide detailed budget notes. which are helpful for agency staff. As I described in the previous slide, if you type in a number on a budget line item that says specify in notes, remember to provide the detail on the budget notes worksheet. The more detail you provide, the less staff will need to request additional information from you. Another common error is putting front desk or service coordinator expenses on line 29, other administration. These expenses actually belong on line 35, unique operating expenses. If the property has either Holman units or Mariff units, pay special attention to this slide. For Holman units, the monthly amount of rent charged to the tenant, as well as the subsidy from the PHA, needs to be reported on line 4, miscellaneous rent potential. A common error is to include it on line 1, apartment rent potential. The monthly amount of rent charged for the non-Holman units is all that should be reported on line 1. Estimated budget numbers for developments receiving Mariff operating subsidy and Section 236 developments that receive excess income should be listed on line 18 of the budget. Break down these numbers in the budget notes by specifying the amount and the source of funds. Line 81, annual partnership distributions, should be blank. For the adjustments that appear in lines 77 through 94, note which line items should be entered as positive or negative. A plus or minus sign appears in parentheses after each line item. You will need to submit the following to Minnesota Housing. The Rep Workbook that shows the date of 6/20/2017 on the instructions worksheet. When naming the file, follow the naming protocol of Name of Development 2019 BUD. For our sample budget that we have used during this tutorial, the file name would be Sunnyside Apartments 2019 BUD. Make a note that the file has a .xlsm extension. If it does not, then you may not be using the 6/20/2017 version. Section 1 of this tutorial describes how to copy data from a previous BUD-Rep file. Remember to submit the utility allowance schedule. Finally, submit the rent matrix if you are not using the template in the workbook. If 100% of your development receives rental assistance, such as Section 8, then a rent matrix is not required. Budgets must be submitted via Box.com and uploaded to the property's budget folder. Asset management no longer receives documents via the secure upload tool. Please validate your management company's Box.com access by viewing your Box.com access request form from last year. The form you completed for 2017 is located in your Minnesota Housing Uploads Box.com folder. If you need to change your current access, you will need to complete and submit a new access form. Contact your housing management officer if you need help obtaining a new form. If your Box.com account does not include a folder for your development, your housing management officer can assist you with adding the property. This ends Section 3. You should now be ready to complete your budget. If you have questions or if you have notes about the budget that you want to review in more detail, please refer to the information listed on this slide to contact the housing management officer assigned to your property. The names and email addresses are also listed on the asset management page of Minnesota Housing's website at www.minhousing.gov. Thank you for listening to this tutorial on submitting a successful operating budget.